Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome to a new reaction. This is the Monster Hunting Deltarune by Pastra, and this was suggested on my Discord server by Marl, and, just taking a quick glance at the thumbnail here, I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that this video is going to be about Freind, or whatever Freind might, in fact, ever actually turn up to be, if we ever actually see him in the game for more than just either, a flashback cutscene or a one-off enemy in a secret route of the game. Because, yeah, there definitely is... Again, there is definitely the whole thing with Freind, because, I mean, before Chapter 3 and 4 came out, there was all this speculation about what Freind is. Is Freind a cat? Is he not? Is cat, like, the tail of hell and stuff like that? Is Freind, like, connected to Noelle with her cat petters, misadventures that she's had in the past and glitches. Now, some of that has died down a little bit, given that, we actually did see Freind, in, like, weird amalgamate cat form in Rousey's flashback, and also in the form of the weird little enemies that pop up a bit when you're fighting for the Shadow Mantle. But at the same time, like those also raise more questions, because, like, we saw Freind pop up like twice in like those chapters, so that might open the window for Freind to appear more times again. Either way, a lot of questions, and we're still really wondering what Freind even means, if they mean anything. Yeah, so I mean, I probably should get into the video and see what's actually going to be about then. So yeah, of course, as always, original videos linked in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video lead to my Let's Play of the day. And if you like this video or any other video that I make, I'd very much appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe to my channel, because over 3/4 of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, and I'd very much like that to change, because my big goal for this year is hopefully it's 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I mean, come on, please, I'm almost there. Just that little bit is what's needed. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
Device_Freind. If you are in the know about the current goings-on of Deltarune and its community, this name just sent a chill down your spine. Toby Fox is someone who has always had an affinity for hiding spooky little characters and Easter eggs in his games, whether it be the goners shown in Undertale, the ever-elusive W.D. Gaster, or other strange occurrences. These phenomena are all over these games. None, though, truly compare to the absolute nightmare that is Device_Freind. This guy right here, this silly little smiley face with yellow and pink eyes, I swear he's a cognito hazard. Once you learn about him, like properly learn about him and what he's doing within the narrative of this game, you do not stop seeing him.
Honestly, thinking about it, I just thought, so he's the image that the image is called Device_Freind, and kind of going off of like device theory. Like, who's to say it doesn't have some connection to the whole thing where, like, oh, it's just another person on the same system, a device that is a friend or something like that. Maybe that's why it constantly keeps just showing up and smiling. Well, then what would that... Though, for the mantle fight, what would that mean then?
I began doing research for this video thinking it would be a fun little exploration of all the small Easter eggs he's appeared in, but the list of sightings kept growing and growing and growing. This guy is everywhere, fucking everywhere. This video is a documentation of my findings, my exploration in trying to find and understand everything there is to find and understand about this monster that is haunting the narrative of Deltarune. I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's just jump right into it. Also, by the way, just thought you guys should know that I have a GamerSupps code now. GamerSupps.com/Pastra. You can use the code that you see on screen here to get 10% off any of your purchases on GamerSupps. Okay, cool. Let's get to the video. Yeah.
presents.
Device_Freind made his first appearance in Deltarune's second chapter, acting as a mere Easter egg that could be found when doing the route to obtain Spamton's Shadow Crystal. When venturing into the Queen's basement to get your hands on the empty disc item, Freind can be seen watching from the darkness in one of the rooms you must go to before the carousel appears. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but they are there. This small appearance sparked much intrigue in the community at the time for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, the appearance of the character. Freind was a disembodied face, with its most striking features being its eyes, which shared a color palette with Spamton's glasses, implying a deeper connection between him and whoever this Freind character was.
Honestly, I remember back in the day, and I don't remember if it was that widespread, but I do remember some people suggesting that that might be Spamton because, you know, at one point Spamton says, "Oh, we're friends already," and stuff like that. Though now that's, quite evidently false.
This led to a lot of discussion at the time, with the most popular theory being that Freind was the mic mentioned when exhausting Spamton's dialogue in his shop. As well as this implied connection, Freind was also immediately fascinating for the prefix their sprite file had, which labeled them as a device. The reason this was important was because there is a popular fan theory that the device prefix in the game files refers to some kind of device created by W.D. Gaster for the express purpose of allowing us, the player, to interact with the game. Elements of the game, such as the character creator and save files, for example, are given this same prefix. So between the clear connection to Spamton and this, it was clear to most people that this character or entity or whatever they were was important. This small Easter egg was not the only time the presence of Freind could be observed in Chapter 2 as well. When exploring the Dark World, the colors yellow and pink could be seen in multiple places, further establishing a strange connection between the Dark World and whoever this Freind is.
And on top of that, the yellow and pink, neon panels there, also having cats on them. Another thing I just realized.
At one point, the player can see neon signs in the background of the Cyber City, displaying those colors and the imagery of cats alongside them.
Yeah.
These same bright pink and yellow colors can also be seen in the windows of Cyber City, just far enough out of view that you may not notice them. But once you're looking for them, they are right in your face.
Okay, another thing I had never noticed before. I noticed the yellows, but I've never consciously noticed the pink before. What did I think the pink was? Because there's the yellow, the light blue, and those very much fit, the far off city skyline. But the pink, I had never noticed the pink before.
This character was everywhere, but we had no way of knowing why, as Deltarune was still very much in its infancy when Chapter 2 was out. Everyone just kind of assumed he either was Spamton or was something relating to Spamton purely because of the shared eye color and Freind's first appearance happening in a route that was directly tied to Spamton. He would not stop appearing after this, though, with his presence continuing to be felt within the game and, more importantly, external media. The first instance of us seeing Freind outside of the game happened when Fangamer launched its first Deltarune Chapter 2 merch, and with it, the Spamton Special Fun Pack. In this funny little paper bag, fans could purchase any number of goofy little trinkets relating to Spamton, with one being of note to this discussion: a Do Not Disturb sign for your door showing Spamton in all his glory, as well as a piercing pair of pink and yellow eyes behind him.
Oh, the floppy disks! Oh, okay. Again, when I first saw that, I was wondering, is it going to be one of those things where Freind appears on the other side when you flip it over? No, they're just literally right there. And again, floppy disks where, that we saw Spamton with during the 10th anniversary live stream.
This is not too important in the grand scheme of things. It is merch, after all, but I bring attention to it both because it further reinforces the clear connection between both of these characters, as well as acting as a prelude to a major development in this character's relevance. The Spamton Sweepstakes.
Yeah, here we go.
If you hadn't heard of this, I don't blame you. The Spamton Sweepstakes was a live charity event where donators had the chance to win a whole plethora of Spamton-themed prizes. It was a goofy, fun event with one of my favorite videos on YouTube tied to it for the finale, but on top of that, the community quickly realized that there was an ARG element attached to it. By exploring the Spamton Sweepstakes site, people were able to find teasers for future chapters, Easter eggs alluding to stories that have yet to be explored, and yes, you guessed it, they could encounter Freind. The first and most obvious of these Freind encounters was in the form of the chair page that, when clicked enough, would cause you to be jump scared by Freind's eyes. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. Further exploration of this site eventually led to the discovery of a series of blog posts that were made by Noelle.
Honestly, I just gotta pause here for a second because it really is funny. Because, I can still remember when all of this was, still very much new to me. And, way before we even had, a release date for chapters 3 and 4. But now it's so funny. It's like the after months and months and months of watching different theories, learning different things, and chapters 3 and 4 actually being released. It's so funny that the Spamton ARG just seems so quaint now. It's because of all the things we thought of and just were evidently wrong about.
These blog posts ranged from a couple of things. One discussed her interactions early on with Susie, one talked about her frequent playing of the game Dragon Blazers, and another, very important one, discussed a game she used to play called Cat Petters. This blog goes over her experiences with the game, and it shows us a couple very notable things. Mainly the fact that the game she played had a very similar art style to a real pet raising game called Cats 2, which predominantly featured cats that were made up of a bunch of segmented circles that were all animated separately. This doesn't sound important, but trust me, it is.
Yeah, and that's where the whole connection to, the Tale of Hell comes in, because we see a picture of what we suppose the Tale of Hell is, and it's just a bunch of circles.
She tells a story about her time playing the game, about how she would frequently mess with it, and how one day she got an egg for a cat that never hatched. She raised it, took care of it, but nothing ever came of it. It eventually just left. This whole story was strange, but how is it connected to Freind? How is Freind connected to any of this?
Yeah.
Well, a deeper dive into Noelle's blog posts eventually leads us to a page where she specifically breaks down how the rarities of the different cats you could catch in the game worked. There was an 80% chance for a normal cat, a 15% chance for a cat with blue aura, a 4% chance for a rock and roll cat, and a super incredibly low chance for an angel cat. Suspiciously, she also mentions the existence of a supposedly rarer cat that only she saw, one that killed her and that she had no recollection of. That already sets off alarm bells, but what gets weirder is when we look deeper into the Spamton Sweepstakes.
Okay, now I'm actually wondering. I just thought of something. So there's the whole thing of angel rarities and angel being supposedly one of the rarest, where there's an angel in the story, and one that's supposedly even rarer than the angel that only she saw or knew about. Do you think that has to do with any connection to us, the player? Because of the angel is supposedly supposed to be the top, but then there's a secret, even more powerful entity behind it. So the idea. Oh man, I just thought, because I remember I'm forgetting which video. I think it was like on a playthrough. Somebody was doing. I can't remember the playthrough specifically, but somebody I had watched when they were playing Chapter 4 of Deltarune, they had asked, like, after, all the credits were rolling, like, what happens next? Because for the longest time, we thought, the Titans were going to be, the final big bad of the game. And yet here we are, halfway through the game, and we've already fought and defeated one. So what comes after the Titans? So, what if, we think that, like, oh, the Angel's going to be the final boss. But then, there's actually a super secret, even more powerful boss, more powerful than the Angel, that could potentially be us. Oh man, if we turn out to be the final boss, man, that's going to be weird.
Themselves. By doing so, we can find a minigame that parallels this blog post. A minigame that allows us to click on random cats on screen that perfectly match Noelle's description. We can click normal cats, cats with blue aura, rock and roll cats, angel cats. All of it's here. And you know what else is here? Friend. Lingering on this site long enough, clicking on cats eventually results in a friend jump scare that sends you back to the main page. Friend is deeply connected with this cat petters game, and even more so, deeply connected with Noelle.
Yeah, going back on that thing, on that little theory I just said about us being, the final boss. And if Friend is a visualization of that, maybe we're Friend, or we got no, maybe we have a friend inside us. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Because truth be told, this is not where the connections between these two characters stop. When we look deeper into Noelle's story, we can see instances and implications of this character everywhere. As I said before, the windows in Cyber City back in Chapter 2 showcase the color of Friend's eyes, but what I didn't mention is that these colored windows specifically appear once you get to the part of the game where Noelle is in your party. As well as that, if you go to this same location during the weird route, the windows become much clearer and easier to see, as if the game now wants you to look at them.
And there's no cats anymore. Oh.
And on top of all that, it doesn't stop there, because in the same chapter, once you get Noelle in the party, you will distinctly notice that in the HUD for the party, Noelle is depicted as being a bright yellow color for her sprite. And Susie, Noelle's crush, who she spends the entire game fawning over, Susie's
haha, fawning over, a good wordplay.
Sprite is pink. I know, I already sound crazy, but I can't be the only one who sees this connection, right? Noelle is already so intertwined with this thing. I'm just seeing him everywhere now, and we haven't even gotten to Chapter 3 yet. Speaking of Chapter 3, this chapter, as well as Chapter 4, are where this character's appearances begin to amp up to 11. In Chapter 3 especially, this is where the general player is going to see him, as it has his most in-your-face appearances that aren't tied to Easter eggs or external media. The first and most obvious of these appearances happens at the very beginning of the chapter during Ralsei's monologue. When describing the dark and the creatures that come from it, front and center of the visual aid is Friend given a full body. This design is very interesting. Not only does it clearly convey now that this character is a cat, which further reinforces its connection to the Cat Petters game, but it also shares similarities to the appearance of one of the amalgams seen in Undertale's True Lab. I don't know why this is the case, but it is an interesting detail. Continuing on, there are some small occurrences throughout this chapter which could be unrelated or pure coincidence, but very well could also relate back to Freind once again. During the results screen after completing Tenna's game boards, the text for the results are, you guessed it, pink and yellow. Going into the back of the S rank room and interacting with the vending machine will allow you to purchase an item simply called Smile, with accompanying flavor text that reads, always at your humble service. The game doesn't directly communicate that this is related to Freind, but it honestly has them written all over it given everything we've observed thus far, so I'm inclined to believe it is. Speaking of that S rank room, Freind's presence in this chapter becomes even more obvious.
Yeah, here we go.
We gain access to this. I made a whole video on this sequence and why it freaks me out so much, which you can watch by clicking the link in the top corner.
I did a reaction to it, link also in the top corner.
So I won't get too much into detail on it, but it is a gold mine for Freind sightings, so I'm a really hone in on it here. First things first, to actually access this minigame, the player needs to get their hands on a controller that they do not have. At first, it seems like you're gonna need to go and look for it, but suddenly, there it is, just left there for you right outside the room.
And specifically called one of the knockoff ones with pink and yellow buttons.
Inspecting the item, the flavor text on it tells us that the controller has pink and yellow joysticks. Not even playing the game yet, and Freind is making his presence known now. Later on, you're also able to talk to Ram about this whole weird interaction, asking if someone else was in the room with you, to which he just kind of brushes it off, which... The fact that this is brought to our attention at all, and the fact that the controller is so evidently tied to this character, it has some scary implications about Freind just lurking in the back room with us. Actually getting into the game itself, this is where I feel most people really started to take note of this character and his sightings within the game. Exploring the different worlds of the original game board, the player can immediately enter these pyramids once they've leveled up enough, which I mentioned in my previous video allows us to see this chapter's secret boss, Eram, lurking in the dark. What I neglected to mention is that Eram is not the only one present here. Entering the same pyramid from a different entrance allows us to encounter Freind itself, who, depending on which way we enter from, will either be present with their smile visible in the dark or their eyes before vanishing. We get to see more of Freind after this in the actual Eram boss fight itself, where the entity spawns in masses as an enemy we can fight, vanishing with the exact same laugh every time we attack them. Both of these appearances, as well as it just appearing in the opening Rousey monologue, were what properly introduced me to this character and sparked this entire deep dive in the first place.
Honestly, now I'm sort of wondering, with Freind's ability to just sort of pop out of nowhere and stuff like that, how do we know that Freind was even supposed to be in Rousey's monologue to even begin with? Because you look at everything else in the monologue here, in the little area that Rousey's sort of describing, everything is like, there's the red outline, and all the other outlines are either purple or green. Freind Freind sticks out here because it has a white outline with pink and yellow eyes. Did Freind somehow sneak their way into Rousey's monologue without Rousey even knowing it? God, if that's possible, that is freaky to think about.
At first, I thought this thing was a mere enemy used as an ad for the boss fight and nothing else, only to realize as I dug deeper for my video about Eram that Freind had much, much more going on. Speaking of which, although that is the end of Chapter 3's appearances for Freind, there are a couple of things I've yet to mention about these appearances that really intrigue me. Firstly, that odd controller. When thinking about this controller, one may wonder what it would be in the light world given how important it is. Well, actually going to the light world and exploring Chris and Azriel's bedroom, we get our answer. It's a bootleg controller hooked up directly to Chris's game console. A bootleg controller that Chris used to play Dragon Blazers. the same game series that Noelle talked about playing in her blog posts. The same Dragon Blazers that is evidently mirrored by the secret original game board we play with the odd controller in the Dark World.
Again, like, I've said it before about other things, but especially since chapters 3 and 4 came out, I honestly wonder, like, what is Freind? Like, Freind is such a big mystery here, and just as Pastra said before, the more you look into it, the more it shows that this Freind is important somehow. I just wish I know how exactly.
Don't believe me? Let's quickly take a detour to look at what Gerson says in Chapter 4. In Chapter 4, we clearly learn that Dragon Blazers was based off of Gerson's novel, Lord of the Hammer,
which was based off of the original prophecy.
And during Gerson's boss fight, he describes what happens in each chapter of that book. These chapters are shown in the original game through the setting we play in. Chapter 2 is called The City of the Shining, which clearly relates to Chapter 2 of Deltarune with Queen, but also is paralleled here by the third game board. Chapter 3 is called The Isle of Northern Light, with it being described how the heroes travel the islands to catch a glimpse of a lost land. Looking at the original game board, this lines up perfectly with the Ice Palace, with there even being a message in it which reads, "Go to the Northern Light." This original game is Dragon Blazers, which is important, both because it explains where the odd controller comes from, but it even further reinforces the connection between Freind and Noelle.
Which, even thinking about it, it's kind of agreed upon now that, you know, when you started the game, the word that is the game's logo is like mantle, or, you know, the word mantle. So who's to say, like, what's the full game's name? Is like Dragon Blazers Mantle of the Hero or something like that? That'd be pretty cool.
Noelle played Dragon Blazers, and when we go to the original board in the Ice Palace, we can gain a party member that is clearly supposed to be Noelle.
Yeah.
So many aspects of Noelle's life have this bizarre connection to Freind, and it doesn't stop there, because once we look at Chapter 4 properly, it gets worse. Chapter 4 is perhaps the most important chapter for Freind appearances, mainly because it feels like the point in the game where a lot of smaller threads begin coming together. We can first see Freind in this chapter when engaging with the secret Mike boss fight, which turns out to merely be a bunch of Pippins in disguise. Throughout this fight and the lead up to it, there is a lot of cat imagery with yellow and pink going alongside it.
Yep.
As well as this, a section of the fight allows you to play the Cat Petters minigame from the Deltarune website, complete with the same Freind Easter egg if you play it for long enough. This adds nothing new to what we already knew before, but it's a fun way for this connection from before to make its way into the actual game so that people can more easily find it. As well as this, even one of the fake mics we fight has a cat design with pink and yellow eyes, which is clearly meant to be a silly nod towards early fan theories that Mike and Freind were one and the same. After this, we start to see some creepier and much more important references to the character throughout this chapter. When venturing into the Chapter 4 Dark World, there are these rooms you can find that are shrouded in such deep darkness that the only way to see is by using the sound waves created by your footsteps. In one of these rooms, completely hidden, we can actually find Freind hiding away from us, only being revealed when the sound waves pass by him.
Wait, really?
This alone is extremely creepy, but the Easter eggs we...
What? Oh god, I didn't know. Oh, why? Why does Freind have to keep showing up? Why does Freind have to be so creepy?
Find later are even worse. Later on in the chapter, we're able to interact with these NPCs called organics, who take the role of philosophers. They speak about a bunch of random things, but there is one in particular who is incredibly interesting. He's very out of the way, and when you speak to him, you will quickly notice that his dialogue is jumbled up. Deciphering the dialogue will give you the message, Lost where the forest would grow, the children followed the pointed tail.
Right, yeah, this one.
The poor children. Now, this message could mean a lot of things, but it, in tandem with a couple of other interesting Easter eggs, seem to connect it to one evil, smiling friend. As well as this bit of
Wait, an evil, smiling friend?
dialogue, we can find another Easter egg in the form of a prophecy that discusses the same tale. The prophecy reads, "The tale of hell will take crawl," and shows a peculiar looking tail made of segmented circles. Very similar to the ones described in Cat Pedders. As well as this, we can find another prophecy that simply reads roots, depicting the visual of a house between two trees.
And really is, like, the question. I think if I remember correctly, I theorized at one point that, like, Freind might have been responsible for, like, Dess's disappearance or something like that. But honestly, at this point, I don't know what to think. Like, it's just everywhere.
This house could mean a lot of things, but there are two aspects of it that stand out to me and feel relevant to the discussion at hand. Firstly, this house and the way it's set up looks and feels very similar to that of the bunker. One large structure wedged between trees in a spot where the forest would grow. As well as this, it looks strikingly similar to the adoption center from Cats 5, which could very well be intentional, but who knows, maybe it's just confirmation bias.
I mean, I would like that, but at the same time, like, those are both very, very generic, just house shapes. So, I mean, I could see it just being coincidence more than anything else.
Speaking. All this to say, though, that these three Easter eggs all feel intrinsically linked to Freind and his involvement in the overarching story of Deltarune. They paint a very grim picture of the goings-on in the world and how Freind could potentially be tied both to the disappearances of multiple children in the light world, but also could be a key player in the prophecy. There is even more that can be found going deeper into this chapter, if you can believe it, and it's all thanks to good old Gerson and his dialogue during his boss fight. During this fight, as we described before, he goes over the different chapters of his book, Lord of the Hammer, which we learned was adapted into Dragon Blazers, and adapted from the prophecy.
Yep.
Well, one interesting thing is that Gerson actually briefly talks about Chapter 5, and gives us a very small glimpse into what that chapter will hold. And what is it he says? Chapter 5,
the pink and yellow
field
flowers.
of pink and gold.
Pink
The
and
vast
gold. Yeah, never
garden
mind.
is charred in an inferno of jealousy. Pink and gold. There it is again, those two colors that have driven me to what feels like complete madness everywhere I look. Pink and yellow. This description alone to me implies we're going to be seeing much more of Freind in Chapter 5, and that coupled with the king trapped in asylum prophecy featuring Asgore that can be found, I'm scared about how things are shaping up. One final little tidbit I think is worth mentioning here before we move on is a much more minor detail that could bear some heavy significance. When we go to the end of the chapter where we have our final confrontation with the Roaring Knight and the Titan, there is this scene where Susie is shit-talking the knight and the knight begins to laugh. Those who were very astute quickly took note
that the knight has makes the same laughter noise as Freind. Right, I'd forgotten that.
of the fact that this laugh sound effect is the exact same laugh that can be heard from Freind. The exact same one. Whether this bears significance, I don't know. But given everything else we've seen so far, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, for all we know, that could literally just be how Darkners sound when they laugh. I mean, I'm actually, yeah, I mean, we've never heard a lot of Darkners actually like have a good belly laugh before, so I mean, we could just be waiting for them to just start chuckling it up, and then that noise starts coming out of them.
And that takes us to the current end of Freind sightings in Deltarune. There may be some I missed or some connections I've yet to draw, but that is all I was able to currently find in my own research and make connections to. That being said, though, we're not done yet.
Of course we're not.
It may seem like we are, but somehow we're not done yet.
There's always more Freind.
Let's take a trip 10 years back to a little game called Undertale. This game had very minute details that nobody would have paid attention to, but given the current subject of this video, now mean a lot.
Oh, is he going to be talking about the whole thing where it's like when a monster surrenders, their name is yellow, but you can switch it so that their name turns pink instead? Ah, God, right.
First things first. You know how on the Spamton sweepstake there was this odd sprite of Freind that had a magenta eye for seemingly no reason, despite the eye normally being a brighter pink? Well, taking a look at Sans during his boss fight reveals something interesting to us. The karma mechanic, that little poison effect that all of his attacks give you, the coloration of those attacks is magenta when shown on your yellow health bar. The same magenta we see with Freind's eyes down to the fucking hex code.
Okay, come on. Okay, honestly, I never would have even considered looking into that. Like, that is just... Why, though? When we fight Freind, is Freind going to have, like a karma mechanic with it? And also, sorry, I was called downstairs all of a sudden and... popsicle. Okay, I'm not going to say no.
That's not all. His yellow eye, same color as the yellow used for sparing enemies.
Yeah.
For the save points, for your health. And it continues to get worse, dear viewer, because there is an elephant in the room I've yet to even mention. In the ruins of Undertale,
here we go.
Present since the first demo is a frogget. A simple, unsuspecting frogget. Talking to this frogget, he will allow you to change the color of your spare button from its usual yellow to pink. The exact same pink as Freind's eyes are normally. Same hex code and everything. This can't be a coincidence, right? But then what does it even mean if it isn't? Why would a frogget in the ruins changing the color of our spare color in fucking Undertale be relevant to the existence of some demonic cat creature in a game Toby Fox released 10 years later?
Well, I mean, it's been said before, but if you're watching this video and don't know, I mean, Deltarune spawned from a dream Toby had for the ending of a game, but not knowing how to make the game that would lead to that ending, he eventually ended up making Undertale. It's not until years later that he ended up actually beginning to work on Deltarune, which is the game who's going to have the ending that he dreamed of. So obviously there's some weird connection. I didn't know about the magenta of the karma. But if there's gonna be like a boss with like a karma-like system that might have something to do with just sparing them or something.
I don't understand. I swear this character is everywhere I look. I go to watch a fun cartoon, there he fucking is. I go to look at pictures of cute little cats, there he is. I want to buy some Joy-Cons for the Switch. Nope, no you don't, because there he is, hiding in plain sight. No matter where I go, he's there. It's like I unlocked some kind of eldritch knowledge I wasn't supposed to have. Okay, Pastor, calm down. Calm down. It's just a coincidence. You just need to detox. Just go play some Fortnite or something. That always cheers you up.
Why do I think that's not going to help?
Oh, yeah, let's go. This is exactly what I needed. Nothing beats good old Fortnite. Oh, my buddy's emoting. Let me just join in. Wait a minute. No, it can't be. No, anywhere but Fortnite. No, not that cat. Anyone but that cat. I'll never be free.
So, what does
Fiznom?
that all mean?
What?
Surely Toby wouldn't infect
Fiznom, what are you doing here?
his fans with the feline equivalent of the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon for shits and giggles. Ryan? Surely. There's an explanation here. A missing puzzle piece. Something that will tell us what Friend's purpose in Deltarune's narrative is. Or will ultimately be. Are they Gaster's evil lackey, doing his bidding in order to move the plot of Deltarune forward? Are they a demon, born from the darkest depths from which the fountains are released? Are they going to be the final boss of the game? Maybe they're secretly pulling all the strings behind the scenes, secretly controlling the knight's actions. Could they be controlling Carol? Could they be the ones truly controlling Chris? Could they be controlling you? Could they control me? Could they even... Anyways, obviously we are working
You saved yourself from the spy literally losing his head there.
to solve an incomplete puzzle over here. And as of the release of this video at least, only 4 of the 7 chapters that compose Deltarune have been released. But as a certified Deltarune gamer with an incredibly high IQ who's never been wrong about any of my Deltarune theories ever, I feel particularly equipped to solve this heterochromic mystery. So let me just take a stab in the dark here and come up with my own theory for what Friend's all about. And then you guys can tell me what you think about it in the comments. So I think I have about, I think I got about 8 minutes before they're done with that. So, just hear me out here. As Zach previously mentioned, everywhere Noel Holiday goes, Friend is sure to follow. They are in Dragon Blazers. They are in the Chapter 4 Cat Petters inspired minigames. Always hidden, just out of sight. Always smiling, watching. And if you really think about it, if we just ignore the rest of Deltarune's plot and focus purely on Noelle, she's sort of a protagonist of a creepypasta story, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's almost the archetypical creepypasta/unfiction horror story protagonist. She has a blog dedicated to secrets, glitches, and Easter eggs in her favorite games, a sister who disappeared under mysterious circumstances, very frequently shows gaps in her memory caused by traumatic events.
And then, there's the whole fact, while she is known for frequently finding, video game glitches and secrets and stuff like that, she herself lives in a video game.
And yet, she has an unwavering determination to face the unknown. Maybe out of curiosity, maybe out of some masochistic adrenaline-fueled thrill, or maybe, just maybe, as an unconscious drive to find something, anything, that could tell her where Des might have gone to. And if Noelle's the protagonist of this creepypasta story, well then, buddy, who better to serve the role of the mysterious antagonistic anomaly/cryptid than our buddy Friend over here? Every time Noelle digs deeper than she's supposed to, Friend is there to greet her. Noelle tries to document every single cat type in Cat Petters. Bam! Friend jump scare. Noelle tries to mod her game to get the ultimate secret cat. Bam! Special egg friend thing. Noelle plays Dragon Blazers and accidentally performs the evil weird route in her game. Bam! There they are throughout the sword routes. Noelle has a habit of reading her blog spam mail, forming a small connection with her spam bot, to the point that he gifted her a little peepees? Well, guess what entity might have then contacted that little mailman in the dark world, and had such a profound impact on him that he still wears that entity's colors on his glasses? So, with that all in mind, I ask you, what if the dark worlds of Deltarune have the power to give life not only to objects, but a Lightner's own imagination itself? A vision of something that only existed within your own mind.
I mean, it could be true. I mean, he could be right there. Because, I mean, there is the whole thing that, like, Queen and King were... like, they were, like, playthings from when, like, Chris and Azrael and Des and Noelle kind of, like, brought stuff over from the school to just play with. Like, deck cards, a laptop, and stuff like that. And through their just play, that's how, like, the personalities of them even just became a thing. So, I mean, that could be true.
Something you maybe secretly wished existed. Something you looked for. A being brought into existence through the power of darkness mixed in with belief. A stray childhood thought. A creepy monster you swear you saw lurking in the shadows of your bedroom. Maybe a dark secret you were hoping to uncover, hidden inside your favorite video game. Freind is Noelle's Mew behind the truck. Freind is Noelle's operator, her Ben who drowned, her Sonic of the .exe variety. And while yes, Freind is a little scary creature, sure, it's not like Noelle's adverse to scary things, right? In fact, as she herself says in Chapter 2's Carousel Ride, she finds such things comforting. And that's what I believe Freind really is. A sort of imaginary friend, the reward for looking deeper than anyone else would, a creature born from darkness, conjured from the mind of a sheltered little kid, seeking some thrills to spice up their boring hometown life. And yet, there's something missing, isn't there? There's something missing in this theory, an unexplained emptiness.
Really a connection to the rest of, Deltarune just as a whole. Freind keeps showing up, but we have no idea how they're connected to anything other than Noelle.
A missing puzzle piece. The thing that makes Freind so much more special than other Darkners. Because unlike any other Darkner, any other character, Freind's presence haunts the very roots of the narrative itself. And so, while our missing puzzle piece still isn't here for us to find, its presence, or rather, its absence can still be felt. In the middle of Chapter 2, Chris and Noelle start to reconnect. Noelle then reminisces about their shared past. She talks about a shining city of lights, a place very similar to the very cyber city they're walking through. One that Noelle's sister December once said that she would take her to. A place they promised each other they'd one day go out to and explore, together. But before that promise could be fulfilled, December went missing. It happened during the night, years before our own story began, back when all four of them were still kids. Chris, Noelle, Astriel, and December, two pairs of siblings, two families once inseparable, an adventuring party. Maybe as a dare, maybe to prove a school rumor wrong, maybe as a test of courage spurred on by the older siblings, or just simply go on an adventure together and have some fun outside. Regardless of the reason, they all set out to explore the edges of hometown, beyond that graveyard, in the middle of the night, surrounded by darkness. And of course, as a group of rebels would, without adult supervision. And so they would all quickly find themselves lost where the forest would grow. Until they all spotted something, a rustle in the trees, a figure moving amongst the leaves, a black tail, just out of sight. Or rather, spots? Circles? An organized formation, a group of shadows trailing one after the other.
Again, just the idea that Freind may be able to go outside the dark worlds unlike any other Darkner. And, this shows us a strong connection to the night right there.
Snaking back and forth, a hypnotizing performance. A terrified Noelle cries out, frozen in fear, unable to move, until comforted by her sister, who wipes her tears away with Assie's jacket. Who knows what December felt in that moment? Was she confident she could get everyone back home? Did she feel excitement at the opportunity to be the hero her sister and friends needed at that moment? Did she feel the responsibility weigh heavy on her shoulders of getting everyone back to safety? Or was she also scared of the things that went bump in the night, yet still chose to put up a brave face for everyone else?
Yeah.
We don't know. And we don't know what happened after that moment either. Not yet anyway. And maybe we won't get to know. Even once the story is over. The only thing we know right now is that without any other option, without anywhere else left to go, without any other thing to guide them back home, the children followed the pointed tail. And then the poor children never saw their big sister again.
Apologies, friends, for that outburst from before. I have recovered now and feel wonderful. This was such a fun video to make. I hope you liked it. I know I did. If you want to come back, that would be cool. I will see you in next video. Subscribe, please. That would be nice.
Oh god, is Friend actually some sort of weird Venom symbiote? Is that what's going on here? Oh god, honestly. Like, there... If it hasn't been said before, like, there is a lot of mysteries still in Deltarune. Like, of course, we got a lot of answers with chapters 3 and 4, but it's the old adage where, like for every question that we had answered before, we got 2 new questions. And I have a feeling, I'm just gonna go on a limb here and say that we're not gonna start getting, the number of questions we have aren't gonna start, actually shrinking until, we start getting, closer to the end of the game. But yeah, that's... I mean, again, surprise Fiznom was definitely not expecting that crossover. But yeah, that's definitely going to be it for now. So yeah, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.